First off, here's the reeds. Now, there's only two of these reeds because I don't have a tenor saxophone or B-flat clarinet reed, but I do have a bass clarinet and soprano saxophone reed. But you heard how all four of them they work. So the one on the left are for singing instruments that only send a whole tone lower in. The one on the right are for instruments that are lower than that. So you can see how much bigger the one on the right is than from the left. Below the reeds are the ligatures for the mouthpieces. Now you notice how all three of them are made of metal, except one's made of plastic. Another thing is the one second to the right, the screws are on the opposite side. I'm not sure why it's like that, it just is. And also, which one is which? Well, the one at the very left, that's for bass clarinet, and then tenor saxophone, B-flat clarinet, and soprano saxophone. Notice how it goes from big to small. So now, the mouthpieces. And now, the mouthpiece is included. Now, if you look on the bottom of the base of the mouthpiece, you can tell which ones are clarinet ones because they have a cork on the outside. Saxophones don't have a cork on it. Instead, they have a cork on the end of the neck, where it actually goes under the mouthpiece. As in, on a clarinet, you put the mouthpiece inside of the receiver of the neck/barrel. On a saxophone, it goes. But on a saxophone, the mouthpiece goes on the outside of the cork area of the necks. Also, if you look closely, you can see how, once again, it goes in bigger, smaller mouthpieces. And now we have the caps for the mouthpieces. Another indication, at least coincidentally, that the gray ones are for clarinets and the yellow ones are for saxophones. Another thing is, if you look closely, on the clarinet, the bass is bigger than on the saxophone, but the tips are the same size. And here's what I mean. Yep, see? Same size. The width are the same as well. Let's try a better shot. See? Same width. Yet, the bases are not the same size, which means that a saxophone mouthpiece is actually a little more cylindrical than a clarinet one's, which is funny because the instruments they go for is the opposite of that. This is what it looks like on a tenor saxophone. See how well it fits? And here's the exact same reed on a bass clarinet mouthpiece instead of a tenor saxophone. Also fits because, like I said, the tips of both mouthpieces are the same size, yet the bases are different sizes. Just like the larger ones, the small ones are the same way. At least, mostly. Just like in the larger ones, the bass on the B-flat clarinet is bigger than on the soprano saxophone, yet the tips are also the same size. Let's show that also. You can see how they're similar as well, and here's this angle. And you see, same width, but yet the bases are different sizes as well. In case you didn't know, the clarinet's the bigger one, at least with the bass. So yes, that's how they compare. Here's that reed on the soprano saxophone mouthpiece. See how it fits? Because that's what it's meant for. And the exact same reed on a B-flat clarinet mouthpiece. Now, like I said before, the ligature is on a different side than the other three, and it's also made of plastic. It's probably a manufacturer thing. This is actually an old clarinet if you didn't know. That's probably why. And now technically this reed's a little too wide for this mouthpiece, but it's close enough where it actually works. These are saxophone mouthpieces, and if you look closely, you can see that both the holes are actually circles. I'm not sure you can see, but they're both circles. Also over here, the bottom of the opening is actually round off as well. And yes, sizes between tenor and soprano saxophone mouthpieces. Now I have clarinet mouthpieces, and look over here. Instead of the holes being circles, they're more like rectangles. They're like squares and stuff. And here is the opening. Over here. Unlike the saxophones where the bottom is round off, both of these are flat, they're square. And once again, the size between bass clarinet mouthpiece and B-flat clarinet mouthpiece. Now, not all saxophone mouthpieces and clarinet mouthpieces are the same, because I have a friend who has an alto saxophone mouthpiece that looks more like these with this top part than the saxophone ones that I have in my apartment right now. And now we have the necks included, except one of them is called a barrel instead. So on the left, we have the instruments that sound a whole tone plus octave lower written. You know, on the left bass clarinet, and then right of that would be a tenor saxophone. Notice how it has two bends, and the bass is actually almost the same size. And you can see the cork on the saxophone is not on the clarinet, but the mouthpieces is on the clarinet but not the saxophone. And now if you go to the right, the one octave higher, we have a soprano saxophone neck and a B-flat clarinet barrel. Notice how a lot different it is. Yeah, it kind of breaks the consistency, but that's just how it is. And also, the saxophone ones, both tenor and soprano, they look very similar other than one of them is straight and the other one's bent. The clarinets, however, they're more different than that. In fact, what you probably didn't know is that metal and wood, they don't vibrate the same way, as in, metal vibrates the high frequencies a lot better than wood can. So have you ever heard a bass horn and a bass clarinet playing the same pitch? You notice they have a distinctive different tone quality, like the bass horn has a more metallic sound and brighter sound than the bass clarinet. And yet they only made a third apart in pitch. And now, all 40 instruments fully assembled except for the reed, which you know is between the larger ones and also between the smaller ones. You can see I range from highest pitch to lowest pitch. And it's also by smallest mouthpiece to biggest mouthpiece. But if you look closer, the saxophones have bigger bells than the clarinets, even at the higher pitch. They're also heavier too because of, well, they're made out of metal, and the other ones are only a little bit. Well, more of a bass clarinet though, since it has a metal bell and neck. It's different than the smaller clarinets. And now, let's see the bell sizes. But before the bell sizes, I've actually modeled these as well, but keyless. Yeah, looks just like it. Okay, the color's weird because of, well, the color I can with the color, but trust me, they are the correct colors. Now, let's go to the bell of the small ones. I look on the clarinet one and you can see the bore is actually kind of weird. You see, near where the bell starts to join, you see it first with the clarinet, and then it goes cylinder, and then you have this bell flare. On the saxophone though, the walls are very thin, so it is almost just like the outside. And on the larger ones, you can see a similarity on the bass clarinet, where unlike was just like the smaller clarinet where you had the first one before the bell section, where you can see on the bass clarinet effect over here. See, look, there's actually a frozen 2 right there. So look, frozen 2. This is actually smaller than this, and it's a straight line if it wasn't curved from here to there. Now I was showing this thing, but it's hard to see, so the model will have to show you instead. So now the bell sizes. So this is actually a little bigger than this, and then this is a little bigger than this. Now, saxophones do not have details of bells, but clarinets do. So, I'm going to take it out for a second so you see it now. Yes, the bell's not off the bass clarinet. And here's the bell right here. Yes, it looks like this. Like I said before, this end is actually smaller than that end. But it's a straight line if it was not curved. But anyways. Yep. Now you know how much smaller a bass clarinet bell is compared to tenor saxophones. And just like the bass clarinet, the B-flat clarinet bell is also taken off, and here's the bell. Unlike the bass clarinet, you can see right through the center because it's straight. And now you can see how much smaller this bell is compared to the soprano saxophone one. Yep. Same differences between the bass clarinet and tenor saxophone bell and these smaller ones. And now, I arranged them by instrument family. See, the clarinets on the left and the saxophones on the right. Now, if you see those white tubes, those are 3D printed plastic cylinder and cone. So here's the clarinets. See, clarinets defined by a cylinder bore, just like this right here. See, two ends are the same size. You can see it here, and you might even see it here. But if you go to saxophones, these are cones, not cylinders, because of this. See? Cone. Look how small the tip is compared to the other end. You can see it here, and you can even see it here. So, if you think singing reeds are defined by how straight they are, you need to get out more, because they're defined by the bore type. So now I'm going to show you what those small tubes sound like. So we have these tubes now. Now everything is exactly the same except for one thing. The one on the left, the opening on the bottom is twice the size of the cylinder one, but the tip of the cone is 0, and on the cylinder is the same as its other end. The center is actually the same diameter, so now you can hear what they sound like. So first was the cylinder one. Yep, just like clarinets, they do that same octaves as well. Cone is like this. And that, trust me, that is a lot harder to do with the second mic. Yep, and like I said, exactly the same thing except for the ends ratio, but the centers are the same diameter. So now you know why clarinets and saxophones sound different from each other, even though they're both stringed instruments and they're very similar. They even have the same fingering, well, mostly. Because, you know, saxophones, they don't have the extra key for the thumb like clarinets do. Although, some baritones have a low A that has the low A key under the register, octave key.